What's up, team? We are back today backtesting one of my favorite strategies. In today's video, we are backtesting the 1-minute range breakout. And this is one of my favorites because if you approach it right, it can be incredibly profitable to trade. And so before we take a look at all of that though, if you want to help support our channel, don't forget to hit the like, hit the sub button below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell as well so you can get stream and video alerts anytime we drop something new. Now with all of that said and out the way, let's take a look. Okay, so the 1-minute range breakout is one of my favorite current strategies that I use in my system. It is very, very effective, at least in the way I approach it. And in today's video, like I said in the intro, we're backtesting this for accuracy, favorable conditions, and all of that good stuff so we can figure out how effective this strategy really is and under what conditions is it that effective. The 1-minute range breakout looks to find a sideways or neutral trend and then waits for that range to break. I love using the Thinkorswim rectangle tool, and the easiest way is to look for 3 different confirmations in either the upside or downside of the sideways trend and then wait for that break to happen. And so once the break actually happens, we're just looking to buy the dip to the previous high of the day or to the volume weighted average price level and attack the specific break in that direction. And that's if the range break was on the upside. If the range break is on the downside, then we just look to short into the pop to the previous low of the day and then attack the trend in that specific direction. Now, as I said in the intro, in today's backtesting session, we're testing both large caps, ETFs, and penny stocks to see what has the most favorable action with this specific strategy. And the backtesting method we're using is the IO or binary method, where we just give it an I if it's successful and an O if it fails. The success and failure levels of this specific strategy can be subjective, but I think I'm going to use the middle range volume weighted average price level to determine if the trend was successful either on the upside or downside. And so basically, if it breaks under or over the volume weighted average price after breaking the high or low of that range, then we'll consider it a failure. If it continues to go up, say in a 1-to-1 ratio relative to the VWAP in that specific direction, then we'll consider it a success. And so with all of that said and out the way, let's check out the backtesting. Okay, team, so our backtesting is done and we have some really good data to take a look at here. First off is penny stocks, and this one showed up in the last 20 days out of my entire list only 16 times, and so it didn't actually show up a ton, but 12 out of those 16 were successful, giving this one an accuracy rate of 75%. Now, I will say that strict volume during the backtesting session certainly helped this one have a higher accuracy, and I think this shows the importance of volume in penny stock trading over everything else, since it is based off of momentum. And so if you can find stocks that have maintained high volume over at least a few days, maybe they're on their second day after a big parabolic move, the sideways range breaks here can be very, very profitable. And again, volume is incredibly important. I had to delete a ton out of my list here, a ton of the penny stocks we were looking at off of my list to test because they simply were too slow and had no movement over the last 20 days. And so if you attack these range breaks during low volume days, they will most likely fail. Still, if you can be strict and target them on high volume days in the penny stock market, just having a sideways trend that breaks, they can be incredibly profitable. And honestly, I might start attacking this strategy here in penny stocks as well. We'll see what happens. Let's look at the large caps now. Okay, so with large caps, we had a pretty similar story to penny stocks. We tested 2 different types of large cap stocks, both Apple and Disney. With large caps, Apple had about 67% accuracy for this specific setup, and Disney had about 50%. And again, I think this boils back to basically high volume plays with this specific sideways 1 minute range breakout are going to be way more effective than low volume plays. And so the real key with this specific setup is, again, finding consolidation, sideways rectangular trends, but still on high volume stocks. Again, maybe it's Apple running big on a catalyst, or, anything that has good average daily volume, but we're still maintaining that sideways rectangular trend and then just being patient enough to wait for it to break. I think if you can do that in these type of situations, again, it can be incredibly profitable. You just have to have the patience and discipline to wait for it. Again, a huge part of trading is just conditioning yourself through repetition. And so conditioning yourself to do the correct things. And with this specific strategy, the correct thing is just being patient enough and selective enough to find a really obvious rectangular trend. And the more obvious, the better, because the more obvious the trend is, the more traders that are going to ultimately react to that trend breaking. And that's why this setup ultimately works. And so that's one of the biggest things to pay attention to here. And that's one of the biggest reasons Apple had a far larger accuracy rate, a far more successful accuracy rate than Disney did. And so let's take a look at the ETFs now. Okay, so for this specific setup, the ETFs I focused on were the SPY and Q. These are specific ETFs that I target on an everyday basis, and this is really where the base of this system comes from. These are strategies and setups that I trade with my current system, and the majority of what I trade is actually the SPY and the QQQ, two broader market ETFs here. Now, the results that we showed for the SPY were 73%, and this is pretty indicative of what my current system shows, which is around 70% accuracy total, maybe 69 to 70% is what I usually average, and mostly what I trade is the SPY and Q. I'm not sure why the Q only showed 45% here. A lot of the times the SPY and Q move very similar to each other, but regardless, I heavily trade the SPY, and this is pretty accurate in terms of what type of results I generally get with this specific system. Now, again, waiting for high volume trending days in the market is really key, and the bigger the volume on the breakout, generally the better this specific setup and strategy is going to perform. And so waiting for high volume days in the market, really volatile high volume days, and then waiting for small sideways rectangular ranges to break is very profitable with these ETFs as well. And as always, guys, I can't guarantee you're going to make money with any of these specific setups or strategies, but I do trade the SPY almost every single day live on stream every single weekday morning right here on YouTube. And so this is something I'm very familiar with, and this is really where I got this strategy to begin with. And so we'll see if it continues moving forward with this type of strategy working in the market. With these results, I might actually pull back some from trading the Q as much because, frankly, it didn't show as good of results as the SPY does. But broadly speaking, I'll probably continue to attack both of these with this specific setup. And if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. With all of that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish this video. Let me know any specific strategies you want to see me do just like this. We've got a lot of strategies we can backtest, and I've been backtesting for years. I've had videos published on backtesting for years and years now on YouTube. And so again, it's one of my favorite type of videos to do. And let me know any suggestions again in the comments below. Anyways, team, that's it for this one. Remember, if you want to help support our completely free trading content, everything we drop is free. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell to get stream and video alerts. Good luck in the market, guys. Remember, trading can come with a ton of variance, so take it very, very slow. We can't guarantee any of this stuff will work. You got to test it and trade it yourself to see for yourself. And good luck in the market, guys. We'll see you all next time.